and a very warm welcome to this review show of day 2 of the Kanpur Test. And New Zealand have bounced back with a 129-run partnership between their openers. This after India were bowled out for 345, but Shreyas Iyer becoming the 16th Indian player to get a century on debut. But you've got to give credit to the way Tim Southee bowled, got 4 wickets, now a 5-4 for him. Reminded us of some of those spells that we've seen from the likes of Glenn McGrath, Morne Morkel, Dale Steyn. An absolutely brilliant spell by him. But also, let's talk a little bit about the New Zealand openers, Will Young and Tom Latham, 129-run partnership. This is the 7th time that New Zealand openers have got this partnership. And Nikhil Narayan is here with us to look back on all the action from the day. This was completely a New Zealand day today.
Absolutely. 3 sessions, 3-0 New Zealand.
Yeah.
Altogether, there have been 6 sessions in the match. 2-1 yesterday to India, 3-0 today to New Zealand. So it's 4-2 New Zealand. And if you ask me, I would say it's 55-45 to New Zealand, even though they have to bat last on this pitch.
Really? I would still think that India are slightly ahead at the moment, given that New Zealand will be batting last on this pitch. But let's first talk about India losing 6 wickets for 87 runs. And I think that's where it began, you know, the innings for India. And you expected Indian tail to wag a little bit more. Yes, Ashwin scored well, Nikhil, but that also just went on to show how brilliant Tim Southee was and how he utilized this surface. Because, I mean, on this pitch, just to constantly keep that unerring length, you know, trying to get the batsman to make the mistakes. And what he bowled, I think 11 overs on the trot.
Today, yes.
4 wickets, absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. His spell today, Meha, is one of the best spells by an overseas bowler in Indian conditions in recent history.
Yeah.
It is reminiscent of what James Anderson did against us in the opening test in Chennai and what he's done in Sri Lanka recently. It was absolutely a magnificent spell of bowling, getting New Zealand back into the match. If India had scored 400 plus, maybe they would have batted only once. Now, you know, it seems like not only India will bat twice, but New Zealand have a fair chance in this match. So what Southee did, you know, he got his second fifer in India, and just the way he, you know, strategized and got batsmen out on a wicket which is supposed to be good for spinners. It's a slow and low wicket. It has got turn. It has nothing for the pace bowlers. Some of the balls bounced twice to the wicket keeper. So how did he, let's discuss how he got the batsman out. Jadeja, you know, he bowled from round the wicket. He bowled 3 or 4 deliveries to him, which Jadeja left. Then what he did, he got one from again round the wicket to come back in sharply, inside edge, bowled. Similarly, his dismissals of Shreyas Iyer and the other batsman he got out was through outswingers, foolish outswingers. They went for the drive, Saha and Shreyas Iyer, and they both perished. So it was, you know, absolutely brilliant thinking, strategizing by Tim Southee on a wicket which is not suited for fast bowlers. This just shows what experience can do. Tim Southee is one of the, you know, finest New Zealand bowlers in their Test cricket history. His numbers since 2019 are absolutely stunning. He is one of the primary reasons New Zealand won the World Test Championship. And, you know,
and to think that he had a groin injury yesterday, he was out of the field, on and off the field, and you felt that, you know, for him to come back and bowl like this, and why I'd say it stood out in the way it did was also just compare it to the other pacers on display today. And you see the difference that he has made, you know, because, and that gets us to the next question about Ishan Sharma. I know that he's got the experience like Tim Southee, but if you compare him to the way Tim Southee bowled and the way Ishant was, he was heaving and panting, just looked out of sorts.
Looked a bit out of sorts, out of match practice. A little disappointing from Ishan Sharma. But Ishan Sharma, you know, he's brilliant when conditions suit him. So he's brilliant. He was brilliant in England. He has good numbers in Australia. On placid Indian tracks, he's given a few good performances. But the bowler I was more disappointed with was Umesh Yadav. Because Umesh Yadav, you know, gets the new ball to swing and the old ball to reverse swing. And he makes use of the abrasive wicket. We didn't see that today. He didn't do anything. He didn't get... So, little disappointing with Umesh Yadav, more than Ishan Sharma today.
Okay. Let's also talk about the debutant who got a century, Shreyas Iyer. How good was he? And how special must this be for a player? You dream of playing Test cricket. I mean, you can play, you know, limited overs, white ball cricket forever. But the day you play Test cricket and your first Test match to get 100, and again the conditions were such where you felt like you know, you did have to go apply yourself. There was an odd ball that stayed low. There was inconsistent bounce. He was brilliant, and you know, also one of the other stats. You're the stat guy, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the third Indian batsman from Mumbai to have got 100 on debut.
Correct.
Back to back. We can go check it.
Yeah, we can go check it. Correct.
But that's how good he was.
He was absolutely brilliant. See, firstly, first Test match, pressure of your debut. Then no, when he came out to bat, India were not in a great position. They had the openers. Gill had played well, but Pujara and Rahane had fallen, so there was pressure on him. India were not in a terrible position, but they had to build a partnership. So that partnership with Jadeja, that changed the complexion of the match. Otherwise, India could have been 225 all out.
Absolutely.
So also, a lot of people. I mean, I was reading a lot of columns. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, he doesn't look like a number 5 batsman. He doesn't look like." This word "look like" just because he doesn't play attractive cricket. We addressed this yesterday. He has his own ways. Some of his ugly hoiks over mid-wicket. He's not a very pretty player. Surya Kumar is much more attractive. Even there are other number 5
Doesn't
batsmen.
matter as long as he gets you runs.
Yes, as long as he gets you runs. This is not poetry. This is not ballet. This is a sport, right? And he showed that. Also, another very interesting thing which will help India in the future, Meha, is that he started off slowly, but if you see what he ended with, 105, I think 170 odd balls, strike rate of above 60, which is very crucial for India, because India have Pujara, Rahane, Saha, accumulators, who bat at a strike rate of around 40. In India, that is a problem. Pujara has been pulled up for his strike rate before. This person, interspersed between them, he can up the scoring rate because of his ability to hit 4s and massive 6s. He got a number of boundaries and 6s in this innings. So therefore, he is a very important. Now, I hope he's given the second test ahead of Rahane.
Which is the million-dollar question.
Which is the million-dollar question.
As to whether he will be given the second test after this, because Virat Kohli comes back. And it'll be interesting because I would think, just with the way we've seen it in the past, that, the player who's out, who's been rested or injured, comes right back, especially if it's a senior player, and the junior player goes out even if he scored 100. So in this case, I would think that Shreyas Iyer, unfortunately, will have to sit out for the second test. I don't see India dropping Ajinkya Rahane or Cheteshwar Pujara at this point.
You're right. That's happened in the past. The only difference, Meha, now is that the player, who we want dropped, or the numbers suggest should be dropped, has been in very poor form. It's not that Rahane has been brilliant, and he's a part of this team. So it's not. Virat Kohli has to come back. Virat Kohli is still India's best Test batsman. Whatever the numbers might suggest last 2-3 years. But it's Rahane's thing. Rahane has to make way for Shreyas Iyer. Otherwise, new era, but still old leanings. So,
yeah, it'll be an interesting one, and these are difficult decisions that Rahul Dravid will have to make. In cricket, in Indian cricket, we've always seen these tough decisions will have to be taken. But let's talk about how brilliant New Zealand openers were, and I don't think anyone would have thought that at the end of day 2 they would have been 129 without having lost a single wicket. And that just also goes on to show them batting in these conditions against world-class spinners of Ashwin and Akshar, and just the way they used their feet. What stood out for me was, like we were talking about, I was telling you that normally you see visitors coming here playing sweep after sweep. They were actually using their feet. They were driving through the covers. They were going back when they needed to in the pitch, or they were going in front. So very decisive in their footwork. I was simply amazed by how well they batted.
They were absolutely brilliant, undoubtedly. The surprising stat here, Meha, is that 2 full days have gone on a slow turner, but it is turning. The ball is keeping low. Some balls were not even bouncing till knee length, and only 2 wickets have fallen to spinners. Ajaz Patel took 2 Indian
right.
wickets and both tail-enders.
Yeah.
So this is absolutely shocking. This doesn't happen often in a home test for India. So, see, Ashwin,
I think it just also goes on to show how well New
absolutely.
Zealand pacers bowled, how they use these conditions, you know, and really bending their back
Jamieson
over.
yesterday, Saudi today, stunning.
To both of them,
Yeah, but coming back to, you know, Young, I'm very, very impressed with Young. More so because it's only his 4th test. Only his 4th. And his first in Asia, not only in India, first in Asia. He had a control percentage. This is the remarkable stat. He had the control percentage today of around 86%, which means for 86% of the deliveries he faced, majority against Ashwin, Akshar and Jadeja, 2 of them are the world's best test spinners. He was in control. That is 4 out of every 5 deliveries, and that is absolutely stunning for a batsman who's playing his 4th test in India on a pitch which is turning, low bounds.
And some of those shots from Latham and from him, and you said, wow, this is brilliant. The other thing being, which is what Simon Doull talked about, was whether Tom Latham is actually their best batsman of spin. And why I'm saying this, that in those 7-century partnership, Tom Latham is
only
there
won twice.
And today you saw how well he was batting against the spinners as well. And you said that, you know, everybody keeps talking about Kane Williamson because he's one of the best in the world, but New Zealand have these, you know, once again it just comes back to how everybody thinks New Zealand are always the dark horses. I know I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell all our viewers as well, that Nikhil from the beginning of this series has been talking about how Indians shouldn't be taking New Zealand lightly. They are the #1 test team in the world. They won the World Test Championship, and here we are at the end of day 2, you know, with New Zealand at 129, and then they've bounced back.
They bounced back. Coming back to Latham, just a short, you know, word on him. Latham is a, you know, war horse for New Zealand. He has been for the last few years. He doesn't get his due recognition because of Williamson, Ross Taylors, who are more attractive batsmen, who are the stroke players. You know, they get more credit. He is basically the Rahul Dravid of New Zealand. Williamson is a Tendulkar. He is the Cheteshwar Pujara when in form of India. And Williamson is the Virat Kohli. So now you can understand why he doesn't get the credit and why the other batsmen do. Tom Latham has a test average of 42. He has been one of the premier batsmen again, leading to the WTC title. He blunts the new ball. He plays a lot of deliveries, a lot of patience, great character, temperament. Again, he showed that today. His strike rate today is only 30, but it's worth its value in gold. Young took the risk, got the boundaries. He just blunted one end, shut one end up completely.
Now it's important for India going into day 3 that they take quick wickets in the first half of the day, because I think if they are unable to do that and New Zealand get off to a good total, then it's match on really, because I feel that now first session being very important for India. And, you know, the likes of Ishan Sharma and Umesh Yadav need to come good. But thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining us. That's it from us today. New Zealand have ended the day on 129 without any loss. And yes, it was completely New Zealand's day today. Hopefully, it'll be a better day for India tomorrow. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.